Hello everybody, GL1 here. Welcome to my online toy museum. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Transformers Prime, Bumblebee, Cyberverse War Machines. So, the first War Machine we have here is the Bumblebee Battle Suit, which is this here. Now, Transformers Prime came out in 2010. The toys are a little bit after that. And it led to Beast Hunters. The series was written by Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman. Both of those were writers on the original live-action 2 movies. And it was produced, among others, but also from Steven Spielberg and Michael Bay. And Michael Bay is the one who did the first 2 live-action movies. So, that's a little background on Transformers Prime. And here we have these small Bumblebee Transformers. And this is a pretty cool little Bumblebee. And you have like a little sword. And then he has an Energon blaster. And then here is a little cutout of what he looks like when he's transformed into robot mode. And you can see, it's got rolling wheels, so it's pretty much a Hot Wheels sized car. Does that mean we can race it on the Hot Wheels track? Maybe so. Well, when Bumblebee transforms, and he just doesn't have maybe enough power, it's going to need a little bit more, because sometimes those Decepticons, can be quite pesky. Okay, and the arm just snaps back on. It's a ball joint. And then bring that forward, and then there you go. And then there you can see some of the inner machinations of his arm. And then his feet fold down. All right, and now you have Bumblebee. All right, and then he can hold on to his energy blaster. And if he wants, he's got like a cyber sword. Can hold it 2 different ways. It can go, well, it doesn't hold it too well like that. But actually, you could stick it in the side here like that. So he can do some slicing and dicing, or he can hold it like that. Okay. Well, but maybe that's not enough, right? So then he needs to have a big, gigantic War Machine mech suit. And I love mechs, so he can go inside his mech suit, and then you can mount the blaster here. And, you can see it's got all this clear plastic, so it is Energon to the max. And then you can push this button here, and you see that, does it show? Yeah, it lights up. So it's got like a light blaster there. And then this can also come off. It's tethered from a battery, and you can stick it in different areas, and you can turn his fist arm around, and then it's just all blaster. You can turn that around, and then that flips around, and then that's all blaster. And then, you could mount that sideways if you wanted. Okay. But there's more of what this thing does. So if you take a look at it, you can see it's got treads, and they can fold out. So you can go all terrain. There's more than meets the eye on this thing. All right, so you have that. And there's also a big gun. Now this came out, the battlesuit came out in 2012. So you got your big gun here, and that has a missile that fires. A pretty good sized missile here. And you can flip that around, hand around, and then it can hold on to this big gun there. Just shot myself. Okay, and then this mech suit further transforms. What you need to do is bring these feet down, and then this whole thing, so you bring these feet, they can be back like that, but then you can bring them forward, and then this whole thing folds, and then that opens up, and then you have these big blasters there. Okay. So after you have the big blasters out like that, then you can bring the feet forward. So this can get in the way, see? So you have to move this out of the way and then move those back. And then what you have here is this is a platform, so other members of the Autobots can cling on here and they can ride along. So you can have Optimus Prime or Wheeljack sitting there on the back. And then that rolls. It has some wheels underneath. See that? And then you can take your big Energon cannon and mount that right in the center. Okay, so then that tab's there in the center, and then you can have Bumblebee control that big giant blaster right there. And then you can mount the sword somewhere. And you could turn that fist around. And then you have an Energon blaster there too. So just lots of weaponry because, well, you know, those Decepticons are so pesky, especially Megatron. He's really powerful. So you can never have too many blasters, right? And then presumably these are lights. So I guess maybe those are supposed to be lights. And so then you can ride along and you can carry, you know, it actually rolls quite well. You can carry several buddies, you know, several Autobots. You can put a couple here. You can put maybe another one clinging onto there. Maybe they could even sit, you know, you can have one or two sitting there. You could, let's see, turn this back around and then mount that like that upright. So just lots of variations with what you can do with this big mech suit. But maybe that's not enough. And in fact, maybe even Bumblebee is not enough. So he can power up. So now he's got all kinds of, he looks much more angry. I mean, he's got a gun turret on the front of him, and he's got an Energon bow, and he's got, you know, blasters here, and you know, maybe these are like more jet power, but definitely looks like a more angry, you know, because I guess battling the beasts, it's just been a headache, very annoying for the Autobots, and they've just kind of had it. So they're like, all right, well, we need to get more powerful. And then that folds forward. And so now Bumblebee has got two blasters on his shoulders. And the feet fold down. And then you can have his bow, Energon bow. And so we can compare that to the first generation Bumblebee Prime. And so you can see the grill is bigger. It's got the guns. You can see his head looks like a war helmet. Just more scary and spiky altogether. And look at the knees. You can see the colors are different, but even see how this is more pointy, more sharp. So, and the feet are more sharp. You can actually see the hint of a big toe. See that? But, you know, where he's just sort of cute and rounded here, and it's like, well, cute and rounded isn't working anymore. So we're going to have to just get more spiky and dangerous. All right, so then you can go like that, and he can take his Energon bow and put that on the side there so he can have his hands free to do some backhands, you know, take care of some Decepticons that way. Well, maybe that's not enough either, right? Maybe he needs even more. So now he's got a beast hunting machine and Energon driller beast tracker machine. So, all right, so at first, you know, if the Decepticons are hiding in a cave, you can drill right through that cave, right? And of course, you know, Bumblebee could, you know, look like this and go through it, you know, and then sit there on the back. but this came with its own angry-looking Bumblebee. So really very similar, just that the shoulder guns are now silver. So I guess we'll assume he's a little bit angrier now, even more angry. So this Bumblebee is intelligence specialist Bumblebee. All right. And then, all right, so fold that out just like the other one. And then the grill comes down, arms swing forward, right? And then the legs separate. And you don't have moving knees, but you got hips and you got shoulders, and they move around quite well. And then you got some foot action that moves, right? And then he has an energon bow. But that's not all he has. So he can sit in his beast tracker driller, right? But that's not all this thing does, of course. So he's got some extra weapons. All right, so it's got like a chainsaw, because, maybe you have to cut through some Decepticons. I mean, they are metal, so, maybe you gotta scare them with that. And then if your bow blaster isn't enough, well, you got an even bigger blaster, so you can hold on to that. Okay, and there you go. So you got a big old cannon. So now he's really jacked up with a lot of weaponry. But that wouldn't be enough, because this transforms too. So then you pull this lever back, and now it looks like it's sort of like going into a OK Corral situation where it's like pulling both guns on everybody on. Yeah, say, and you pull that back, and then it's like, who wants some? And now you have 2 energon missiles aimed at you and a drill bit. And, you're just looking to make a big mess of Decepticons. Just a lot of havoc. And then you can push this down, and then you can actuate that this way. So when the guns are forward, and you can have other, let's say Bumblebee could multiply himself, and you can put all 3 Bumblebees. He uses some kind of slingshot effect around a sun, and goes back in time and gets himself a couple more times. So now he can multiply himself. So you have 3 Bumblebees right on this big beast tracker machine, and they're spring-loaded, blasting these energon missiles, which are really cool. And they fire easy. All of these are touch triggers, and you can mount weapons on there too. So let's say he wants to have his hands free, so you can just, actually look. So this folds like that, and then it can hold onto there, and so that folds. See, lots of unfolding and things. And you see this little clip here. There's other sets that have like little half moon clips. You can clip other weapons on there from other sets. So it gives you a lot of playability with that. So when it's got the guns out, the drill doesn't move automatically. You have to push, that thumb lever. See, and there's another one of those holders. You can put another weapon on there. All right, but when you push this forward, take note that now we got to fold this back. Okay. And then the gun's in the way. Whoop, and then the missile fires off. They fire easily, like I said. Okay, so when it's back, then the wheels actuate. These wheels underneath, they have these rubber-capped plastic wheels that then actuate the drill. Okay. Now, something I noticed, what does that look like there? Well, it looks exactly like what it looks like, which is a battery compartment for probably 2 AAAs. But it looks like they thought better of it and decided not to put, I don't know, lights or sounds or something. And so they rivet it closed. Whether it has electronics or not, I have not opened it up to investigate. Thought about it. I'm not sure I care that much. They probably didn't. They probably left the electronics out. But it looks like either, maybe a Japanese version has it, or they just decided not to, which sometimes happens. And you can see there's other areas to mount weapons. So you can mount a weapon here, And then it looks like, you see that big Energon gun. So yeah, so that's a bigger, so you could mount something larger there. Okay. And then, yeah, and then look, now you have even a gun on the side. All right, so there's all kinds of things you can do with this. And you can see that this thing moves all around, and you can, probably find a way to mount this into something if there's something vertical. I don't know. Let's see if there's anything on here. Yeah, I suppose you could. Let's see. Yeah, well, you could mount it. Okay, so if it were in mech mode, you can fold that up, and then you can just mount that forward, right? So that sticks in that way. All right. So, all right, there you go. So those are the Cyberverse Bumblebee War Machines. All right, from between 2010 2013, and eventually I have quite a number of Transformers Prime Transformers of this scale, the little guys, and some of them are really highly detailed and articulated. They're really, really cool. They're like the big ones, but just tiny. And then I have some of the larger ones, some of the like 5-inch scale, and then even going up to like the 7-inch scale. But we still have more Bumblebees to get through first, and we'll get through those Bumblebees. There's probably another couple of shows of Bumblebees, I would think at least, and then we can do Transformers Prime eventually. There's just so many different ways to cut these shows up and go about it. But anyhow, I hope you enjoyed that, and always fun for me to look up my old toys, because sometimes, and in this case, this is true as well, I'm like, ooh, that's clearance. That looks pretty cool. I'll get that. And I don't know a whole lot about it because I watched a little bit of Transformers Prime, but I didn't stay with the series. And that's very typical of GL1 is I don't really watch the show or, let's say, read a comic book. I just see the toy and I think, oh, that's cool. And then I get that. All right. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care.